guess what? Backpacking sucks. Not really, but let's talk about some aspects about backpacking that can really turn into some unfun situations and how to avoid them. So I think as humans, we have been trained to seek after comfort, and we don't like being in situations that are uncomfortable. And so when we find ourselves thick in the middle of type 2 fun experiences, we can look at that and go, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not having fun. This just plain sucks. But there are some things that you can do with your gear and other situations to help you enjoy yourself a bit more and change that negative experience to a positive one. Now, I think the obvious first no-brainer thing to talk about has to do with bugs. Bugs can seriously be so annoying. We've all been out on a backpacking trip where we just want to crawl into our tent and just get away from the swarm of mosquitoes and just get away from the annoyance that bugs can be. But there are products out there on the market that can help you maintain and manage bugs a bit more. Obviously, DEET is a great bug repellent, but I would be cautious to use DEET for the reason that it can damage your outdoor gear. So I like to use products like Picaridin lotion from Sawyer or natural things that you can get at any kind of outdoor store. There's also other products on the market that are like those Thermacell type of devices that run off of your gas canister, or there's new battery powered type of ones. Like I've got one from Nitecore that has a little pad with some insect repellent on it. It heats up and lets off a little smoke in the air, and it helps keep the bugs and such away. So yeah, bugs are annoying, but there's ways to manage them and still enjoy yourself when you're out in really buggy situations. Have you ever been out on a trip and you got turned around on the trail, didn't quite know where you were at, and you legit thought that you were lost? Well, that's the second thing I want to talk about, is getting lost. That can be a total game changer in the morale of a group. It can change basically the entire feeling of a trip, because they can go from I'm having a great time to holy crap, I don't know where I'm at. This is now scary. And maybe you didn't bring a paper map with you, or you trusted somebody else to plan the trip and not share the information of the route plan, the maps and such, where you're at. And then you find yourself turned around and lost. And that is a really, really scary feeling. But a great tool for you to use on your phone is a mapping software. And I love to use onX Backcountry for my go-to mapping software. This is an amazing tool for me to download onto my phone, use the GPS built into my phone, and navigate using the offline map that I've downloaded ahead of time with my planned route into the app, into my phone, and I can navigate and know exactly where I'm at on the map. This is a game changer. This is something that I think we all carry our phones anyway. Phones are exceptionally reliable, and we should be using them to navigate, look at topography, know where we're at, and onX Backcountry is an amazing tool for that. The next thing that can absolutely suck about backpacking is when the food that you bring with you is just awful. I think all of us have been on some kind of camping trip or backpacking trip. You ended up eating burned food or rice that was not cooked all the way, or you get a freeze-dried meal and it doesn't rehydrate very well, or it's very soupy. Those are things that after a long day on the trail, you're like, man, I cannot wait to eat a nice, good, hot meal. And then it turns out to just be awful. So there are obviously things that you can do before you go on a trip to maybe try different recipes at home using your backpacking cooking gear as the way to cook it, and see how it works for you, and kind of experiment with things before you go out on a trip and try something brand new. Even with freeze-dried meals, you may think, oh, biscuits and gravy sounds amazing, let's have that. You get out there and you're like, no, I actually don't like that. So try the stuff at home first and just experiment with your cooking, and make sure that when you get out on a trip, what you take with you is actually going to cook correctly, it's going to taste great, and it's something that you look forward to, not something that's just like, it's calories, so I guess I'll shove it in my face. Like, that's not fun. Eat good food and enjoy the calories that you're putting into your body so you can fuel yourself for a good day out on the trail. Let's talk about gear failures, because that can be one of the most frustrating things that can happen on a backpacking trip. Having your tent fail, like a pole break from heavy winds or something, or your sleeping pad gets a hole in it, you now are sleeping on the cold ground. Things like that can absolutely suck, to the point that you would call the trip and bail and head out and end the trip early. And that's fine. Like, making those kinds of decisions are important, and knowing that you can make those decisions, but it just sucks when a piece of gear completely fails on you and you have to manage that as opposed to enjoying the other aspects of the trip. So my advice for gear failures is to make sure that you have patch kits with you, that you have the ability to fix a tent pole if a tent pole does break. They make those little splint pieces that you can slide up on the pole, so that can help with a broken pole situation. And just know how to fix the gear if necessary when you're out on a trip, or be able to make the decision to bail and know that that's going to be okay, because it's okay for something to fail and for you to choose to go home. It's not a big deal. Just know that gear failures, they are probably one of the worst things that can happen on a backpacking trip. So let's talk about Leave No Trace for a second here, because I think that Leave No Trace is one of the most important things when it comes to going out into the backcountry. We got to take care of the places that we go and recreate in. And the thing that can suck is when other people or yourself choose to do things that put a heavy impact on an area. And that creates potential closures. It just trashes an area, and it makes it less enjoyable for other people when they show up. There have been many times that I have been to a campsite and then really enjoyed myself at that campsite. And then next year I look forward to going back to that same place because I enjoyed it so much. And I get back there and it's completely trashed. There's garbage in a fire pit. There's paracord still wrapped around trees. Practice Leave No Trace. Follow the principles, take care of the places that you recreate in, and understand the impact that you make when you go out on a trip. Man, all the birds and the squirrels and chipmunks and stuff right now, this is what I love so much about being outside. It is a beautiful, beautiful day. The last thing I want to talk about has to do with just getting a bad night of sleep. That is super unfun when you have had a hard day of hiking, you get into your bed and you're either cold, your sleeping bag doesn't keep you as warm as you would like, your sleeping pad sucks, and you just have a bad night of sleep. And that is not fun whatsoever, because it just means that your body hasn't recovered. It doesn't mean that you're getting the energy that you need for the next day, and that can be super frustrating. So what's my advice for getting a good night of sleep? Well, make sure that your sleep system is ready for the temperatures and the environment that you are going into. Make sure that you've got an insulated sleeping pad that can handle the temperatures that you're going to be sleeping in, as well as having a sleeping bag that has the correct temperature rating for where you're going, down to the comfort rating. If you've got a 20-degree rated bag, it's very likely that that bag is actually only comfort rated to 30 to 35 degrees Fahrenheit. So make sure that you do your research and you take the equipment with you that matches the conditions that you're going to be in, because that's going to really help make sure that you get a good night of sleep. Also make sure that you are nice and hydrated. Being hydrated, having your electrolytes replenished is a big deal in getting good sleep. Well, there you go. That's my list of things that suck about backpacking and how to avoid them, or how to enjoy yourself more when you are headed out so that you can avoid some of those things that happen from just some of the things that do suck about backpacking. So thanks for watching today, guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you know what to do. Hope you have an awesome day. See you later.